Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I am going to be audio only this morning. I feel like every single morning there's some reason why I can't get started exactly on time, and I don't understand that. I'm really upset about that. But today I had a computer crash just a few minutes before this started. And so I'm just going to go audio only because I'm not really prepared then to be on camera. And then I have to get the camera set back up. So I'm audio only today. I thought that we would talk about GURPS action heroes. I was looking for the right thing because we've got lots of other RPGs and games to go into in much greater detail. But I'm still sometimes looking for the right morning. And I'm not sometimes completely ready to dive in. I still have not been feeling like, hey, let's dive into something really deep. Although we should probably just go ahead and do it. But I was thinking about GURPS action heroes this morning because we had brought up the idea about how well 10 Candles does horror. And we didn't get to talk about 10 Candles last night. There were topics we didn't get to last night. But 10 Candles, how well it does horror. And I had the idea, well, how would you structure a game for something like an action adventure kind of game? And I don't think that GURPS Action, which made me think about GURPS Action, and I don't think that this game is going to be so much about the structure as it is about the characters but I think it does have information on how to set up the theme, but I haven't looked at it in a long time, so I thought we would go ahead and take a look at GURPS Action Heroes. Let's see. Good morning. So who is here? Zero the Blade is here. Good morning, Zero the Blade. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Stray. Hey, yeah, I guess that's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment too. Steel Mongoose. Good morning. Good morning, Robert. So a lot of people we saw last night. Last night, James says, "Good morning. Looks like you guys went only a little later after I had to duck out. I'll be sure to watch the tail to get caught up." Yeah, we had a members only stream last night, and it was fantastic. We basically we discussed Robert's project. We hung out. I was painting miniatures last night. We had a fantastic stream. So what I do is I've come across this great format. It seems like it's going to be a good format where different channel members come on the stream to hang out and discuss, because I can have up to 10 different people on the stream. And so we've got a lot of intelligent people who are also creating a bunch of their own stuff. And it is good, I think, to mix all of that up in some of the members only streams and get people to be able to talk with each other in some ways that is not just text in the YouTube comments or text in Discord. It was really great. So Robert was working on an AI project, a Zork-like AI project, which allows you to do Zork-like games in different worlds. And so he's developed his world, and he's also developed the AI software, and the JavaScript software running through a website, stuff like that, to actually execute that and make it run. And so he was demonstrating that and what can be done with AI last night. That was fantastic. We had a discussion. We continued our discussion on good and evil and storytelling and what is good and what is evil. And James had a lot to say on that. And so did Sable Phoenix and Zero the Blade. We had very interesting discussions there. We took a look at the Satanic Temple as well. So at the end, we actually take a look at the Satanic Temple's website and talk about our opinions on what they're doing, and that's very interesting. So we had very interesting opinions on what was going on with the Satanic Temple. So if you are a channel member and you didn't catch it, you can go back and watch and catch up and see and get to know more people here who are part of the community. Good morning. And if you are not a channel member, well, you can become one, and then that should unlock that stream for you to rewatch on replay, and then you can join us next week. I really had a great time. In fact, it's very inspiring to me to create more stuff, but then also become more educated on different subjects. Good morning, Brett. Good morning. So we will continue that. Stray says, every time I see the intro, I remember the dedicated dive you took with the shopping cart. It was a very dedicated dive. Yep, Steve goes. Now, speaking of that, actually, so tomorrow, if you don't know what we're talking about, I play, and not only did I create, produce, and co-write The Cultists, but also I play Steve. I actually got to play a character in... I got to play a character. So who worships Nyarlathotep, who you see in the start of this, but then also he's in the complete second season. He's in the second season, and we'll be watching the complete second season. Thank you, Stray, for putting the link to the Discord server here. But then also, let's see, Cultist Season 2 watch party. RM is hosting a Season 2 watch party. I just put the link in the chat. Please go ahead and yes, please do leave a like. Also go over there. Hey, Andrew, go over there and hit the notification to notify me during this watch party. So the Season 2 Cultists is only 1 hour long. So RM's going to be hosting, but I'm going to be there as well to watch the show. And unlike other watch parties where you can't actually watch the show on stream because of copyright violations, and you have to start the show or whatever else is elsewhere, since I own the Cultists, I just gave her the files. So we will all be watching the Cultists live that's at 5. It says that that's at 5 o'clock p.m. That's my time. I'm in Central, so that's 5 o'clock Central, live in 31 hours. I will put out to the Discord server when that goes live. But we had a lot of fun last time, so definitely do that. All right, let's see. Tomorrow, let's see. Tonight, I might not do a stream tonight. I'm kind of leaning toward not doing a stream tonight because I have actually not been very good at getting work done lately, and I need a complete reset. I kept thinking I was going to have a complete reset, but it's going to be difficult for me to justify having fun tonight. So, if you're looking for a stream and you didn't see last night's stream, channel members could go back and watch tonight's stream. I think that would definitely be worth taking a look, rewatching. But I just do not think that I'm going to be ready, or I'm going to be able to justify doing like Hero Quest tonight. So I'm going to have to do that. I'm thinking that will not happen. But anyway, all right, let's take a look at this. I don't know, TSL frontman. I don't think that the hero's journey has to involve binary good and evil. I don't necessarily think that's the case. When we're discussing good and evil, but we were trying to discuss, or I'm trying to have a conversation, a larger conversation about good and evil in story, its representation. Does its changing representation say something about society? If you have certain beliefs, then what is that? A certain background of beliefs, then what do you put into a story? But I don't think that the hero's journey necessitates binary good and evil. All right, let's take a look at what's inside GURPS actions here. So GURPS action, they do a pretty good job about putting out these other PDFs. There might be a print-on-demand version of this, but I just have this in PDF, where they're taking a look at different themes and genres. And so since the action-adventure genre seems pretty standard in role-playing, you know, because you could have fantasy that is action-adventure. You know, you could say, and the fantasy is a theme you're kind of overlaying on it, but maybe the structure would be something about action adventure. Or because now I'm thinking about, well, instead of this action being a theme, maybe it is more like a structure. How would you structure a game like 10 Candles structures horror? But I think this game has some interesting ideas, or this way to adjust GURPS has some interesting ideas. So let's see what's inside. We've got an introduction, but then action templates. So, which I think is excellent. We looked at GURPS Fantasy, which has different templates and templates for a bunch of our different classic fantasy archetypes and fantasy classes that we see over and over again. Now, this one does give you, this one also gives you templates. So if you're trying to create an action adventure game that is more modern day. Now, what I was just saying is that probably you could feel to take fantasy characters and put them in an action adventure kind of story. But here we're definitely talking about modern day kinds of heroes. But they've already given you templates for fantasy heroes elsewhere. Here they do give you templates for modern day action adventure heroes. So action heroes cheat sheet, suitable advantages, action movie advantages, gun perks, suitable disadvantages, suitable skills, wild card skills. So again, going through all of the GURPS book, main GURPS book, and extracting what's most appropriate for playing a game like this, which is extremely helpful. Pulling rank, tools and gadgets, gear, clothing and armor, weapons, and vehicles. So, all right, let's figure out what this is. I would love to go to the beach. My brother took my nephews down to the beach. His wife took my nephews down to the beach. I wish I'd been able to go with them. Maybe toward the end of the summer, I'm gonna get to take a run down to the beach. Okay, so let's see. What is this book trying to do? This says The modern cinematic thriller seems like simple-minded entertainment, but it's hardly simple. Centuries of adventure stories provide the timelessness of its key motives: honor, loyalty, and revenge. Many of the essential plots and archetypes originated in the 1920s and 30s pulps. Its visual style borrows from gangster flicks, war movies, and westerns of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Its edginess owes a debt to the 60s and 70s directors who took great risks with graphic violence, raw language, and controversial but highly influential exploitation films. The fancy guns and gadgets snuck in from Cold War spy fiction. So, GURPS Action 1 Heroes provides characters design guidance for the sorts of lead roles common in action films and television series made and set in the 1990s and 2000s. It, as befits their origins, these men of action are more complex than their screen portrayal suggests. The ambition of Action 1 Heroes is to bring that depth to the game without doing violence to the genre. Violence should happen in play. So this is what we're trying to do. Action 1 Heroes focuses on abilities useful in risky situations. So there is GURPS 2 exploits. We can take a look at that. Action 2 exploits. Realistic but still exciting skills just get a nod. Mostly just get a nod. Realistic but less exciting skills mostly just get a nod. Okay, so we have templates. Since players familiar with action movies will naturally tend to create one-man army PCs defeating the purpose of a team, the GM is strongly encouraged to make templates mandatory. This runs contrary to the advice elsewhere in GURPS, but it's for a good cause. Disadvantages are always suggestions, though. Players may substitute their own ideas. So this is about building out a team. And what is trying to be done with some of these templates, which is the same thing that's trying to be done with character classes a lot, is trying to make sure that you enforce like niche protection. So the easiest way to make sure that you have all the bits and pieces you need to fulfill your role without treading on another player's toes is to start with a character template. Each template requires the player to define his hero's background by choosing one of the 20-point lenses below. Any template can have any lens, but the GM is free to require any explanation that squares with action realism, not reality. For instance, an assassin might have the law enforcement lens if he's a maverick ex-cop out to avenge a murdered partner. Each template's customization notes elaborate on what the standard lenses imply for the character. So, for instance, okay, we got criminal. You're a criminal or an ex-criminal. This lens is for a crook who's a believable hero, even if he isn't nice. So we're just talking about in the chat anti-villains and things like that, right? Sable Phoenix says, LOL, I like that unabashed introduction. When was this written? Doesn't sound like modern games. When was this? What is the date on this? This is 2008. So this is from 2008. Developer encouraged railroading. Is that about this, or is this about werewolf? Beowulf. Let's see. So we've got criminal or intelligence. You're an active or retired spy or sleeper. Not all spies work for governments. In the movies, corporate spooks are common, and non-governmental organizations, notably the UN, have secret agents. Law enforcement, you're a cop, detective, marshal, retired cop, or private investigator. The two have no official clout, but several templates offer useful contact groups. Military, you have experience as a guerrilla, militiaman, reservist, regular soldier, or special operator. You need not reflect your current status, which is often mercenary in the movies. And security, you're a professional counter spy. If so, this background is for intelligence or law enforcement. If so, this background is to intelligence as law enforcement is to criminal, bodyguard, or secret policeman. So it looks like, okay, campaign types here. So we've got templates for the different types of niches, like assassin, cleaner, demolition man, face man, hacker, infiltrator, investigator, medic, shooter, wheelman, and wire rat. But any of those could have backgrounds. I mean, I like that way of doing things. Could have a background that is criminal, intelligence, law enforcement, military, or security. And so rather than trying to come up with whole templates for all of those, extract some of these out to lenses, all 20-point templates that kind of overlay that background onto the niche the character is going to be holding. I like that. I like that. Oh, good. Oh, here we go. Steel Mongo says, wait, I'm a retired cop. I'm going to be an action hero. So I'm just reading comments here. It was about GURPS. Highly encouraged templating. I was cracking a joke, though, not making a legit observation. Okay, so campaign types. The GM should decide what templates and lenses fit the campaign he's planning and let the players know before character creation. So, Brotherhood in Blue. The PCs are big city cops dealing with mobsters, gangsters, and serial killers. Detectives are investigators, undercover detectives are facemen, SWAT officers are shooters, and bomb squad technicians are demolition men. So those are all different types of different templates. Caper. The PCs are crafty crooks who plan elaborate heists that take many game sessions to execute. Ideally, they want a faceman, an investigator, a wheelman, a wire rat, and several infiltrators. A hacker is vital for high-tech crime, while a demolition man is indispensable for safe cracking. Commandos. The PCs belong to an elite military squad that executes clandestine ops in enemy territory. Such a unit wouldn't be without shooters, a demolition man, a medic, and a wire rat. Many have investigators in the form of an intelligence officer. A dedicated sniper could be an assassin or an ace shooter. Cleaners and infiltrators are only likely if seconded from an intelligence agency, and facemen and hackers are nearly always behind the scenes. Mercs, the PCs are hired guns. Squads that are paramilitary in character will follow the guidelines for commandos. Cinematic A-teams sometimes do tough domestic jobs, though, and need to be subtler. A typical lineup consists of demolition men, shooters, and wheelmen led by facemen. Information gathering by hackers, infiltrators, investigators, and or wire rats. Spy versus spy. The PCs are super spies, real Bond types, or Powers types in a silly game. I guess that's Austin Powers. All templates are available, but cinematic secret agents are mostly assassins, facemen, infiltrators, and investigators, supported by hackers, wheelmen, and wire rats. Task force. The PCs are pulled together from several government services, possible from multiple nations, to staff some ultra-black organization that crosses jurisdictions. What is Congo? For some reason, I haven't seen the movie Congo in a long time. For some reason, I think about Congo quite a bit. I mean, that's an action movie, and it was about, you were going into the jungle, and there was something about some type of diamond that was protected by gigantic apes or something, right? But the reason that they wanted that diamond, they were sent in there and highly financed, was because some corporation, right? I don't think it was a government agency. I think it was a corporation that wanted to get these diamonds for their satellites, like communication satellites. And so they put together this team to go in and try to get these diamonds from the giant gorillas, right? I would like to look at the hero system sometime because I don't know anything about it. I know people talk about it. Of course, my not knowing anything about it is not a prerequisite for or a requirement for being on the show, because I look at things a lot from the very beginning. The hero system. I don't know where my sheet of paper is. Hero system. So I'll write down over here. I don't know anything about it, so maybe I should. Steel Mongoose says, I ran a guy down in a foot pursuit in my last week, and my squad almost put me under house arrest. Micah says, I imagine a revenant near retiree police officer would hunt down every criminal in the city. GURPS is a sufficiently useful universal system, has a lot of clunky issues that make people always bring it up, and be wary of universal systems. And I say that as someone who loves it and make my own modular universal system. Yeah, this and Exploits, I think, is a great book. Yeah, it was Telecommunications Conglomerate. Yeah, Michael Crichton, it was. Okay, so Task Force troubleshooters. The PCs are a company of former agents, cops, and soldiers who hire out their skills. They solve subtle problems such as corporate security and work as detectives and bodyguards. Vigilante justice. The PCs are taking back the streets from pimps, dealers, and other scum. The typical vigilante is either a straightforward shooter or a self-righteous assassin or cleaner. Those who seek evidence before acting would be investigators if they mostly respect the law. Infiltrators otherwise. If the group tries to gather neighborhood support, involve the media, etc., a face man is helpful. For a sizable group, a wheel man is likely. Technical support roles, demolition men, hackers, medic, and wire rats are rarer. Angry civilians effectively have the criminal lens, but disgruntled cops, law enforcement are likely. Or war against terror. The PCs are an anti-terrorist squad battling fanatics at home. They need investigators and shooters and a demolition man to take care of inevitable bombs. On a large team, a hacker, an infiltrator, or a wire rat could greatly help with investigations. Medics and wheelmans are necessary but less exciting roles, perhaps best left to NPCs. A face man is optional unless the brass needs lots of convincing. Assassins and cleaners lower the team to the enemy's level. Use with caution. So, these templates portray smart people. Several assign IQ at levels of 14 or 15. This might seem to contradict common wisdom that action heroes are dim-witted louts who solve problems with bullets. But consider, if McLean from Die Hard or Ryback from Under Siege were average Joes, how do they foil entire gangs who had excellent equipment, leadership, and planning? Violence and luck play roles, but the fact is, action heroes are at the center of their world are simply better. Few are rocket scientists, but there are many other options for playing high IQ. All right, so here are our templates. These are 250-point templates. So the first is assassin. You might be a hitman, a spy with a license to kill, or a sniper with a uniform and a serial number. Whatever your background, your specialty is quick, silent death. When the demolition man might demolish a city block just to be sure, the shooter would dive right in, guns blazing, and the shooter would take pride in going in guns blazing. You take pride in precision. On a squad, you're the one the mooks don't see, covering your allies from a stealthy perch. So stats, secondary characteristics, all these go for disadvantages, primary skills, secondary skills. Still takes a little bit of time to create one of the characters, but this is so much easier to create one than trying to come up with it, like trying to create your assassin from scratch. So, and then background skills are crucial too. So you choose one of those lenses of criminal, intelligence, law enforcement, military, or security. The cleaner. Now you've got a corpse in the car minus its head in a garage. Take me to it. That's the wolf in Pulp Fiction. You make evidence, prints, casing, blood, bodies all disappear. You might clean for the mob or tidy up behind ultra-black government operators, but what you do for the team is crucial. Make it look like they weren't there. And when that's impossible, make sure that nobody can discover the truth. Some call the assassin above a cleaner, but your art isn't killing. Of course, not every corpse is dead yet, and an eyewitness is the most damning evidence. Let's see. Sable Phoenix says, I do have numerous RPG books that I'll probably never play just because I love the theory behind the game mechanics and DMing or GMing. George says, every game I own, I played at least once. Wow. Yeah, how many do you own? If it's 3, okay, then I got it. James says, I wish I played every game I own. I'm a collector at heart. Toys, video games, RPG books. Okay, so the cleaner decides how he eliminates evidence. See, quirky good luck. These templates offer luck as a mandatory advantage. Players who find Daredevil or Serendipity a better match for their role-playing style are welcome to spend the 15 points there instead. So those are two different categories. Daredevil, advantages, and Serendipity. The point is that the action hero won't last long unless he enjoys some brand of regular good fortune. Also in the name of PC survival, the GM should seriously consider permitting influencing roles and flesh wounds. That's referring to places in the basic rules. If he does, players are advised to save some or all of the points to obtain from these quirks as unspent points for these rules. Okay. Oh yeah. So those are actually ways to spend your character points, because GURPS does have or can have a kind of meta currency if you want to use the rules. It will use points, your character points, to do things like influencing success during the game or flesh wounds. So there's that element too. We talked about sort of the family of games where we have things like Savage Worlds and Fate and GURPS. And so I would say that the meta currency is least well developed in GURPS. Although there's nothing that says you can't add something deeper and more detailed in. You could just add flat out something like Fate meta currencies, but it does have a kind of, I don't want to say embryonic because it's probably more than that, but there's that idea in here, but it uses your character points. So the Demolition Man, setting bombs is an excellent way to learn how to defuse them, and while disarming them means thinking like a bomber. Thus, Demolition Man describes explosive ordnance disposal technicians, combat engineers, and mad bombers. All require a steady hand and familiarity with explosives, arson, and sabotage. The differences amount to how crazy are you and who pays for your work. If you belong to a team, you get the fun job of clearing booby traps ahead and leaving nasty surprises behind. The Face Man. Oh, whoa. So Micah says over 84 gigabytes, 13,000 files for me, even counting that some are a single file and some are up to 10 for the same piece. I've still got at least 1,300 assorted systems, settings, and add-ons. Wow. I thought my PDF collection was large. Nowhere near that. So George says 14. 5 of those are the various versions of D&D. The Face Man. Every crew needs a social engineer. They just don't know it yet. You'll convince them, though, because that's your gift. Whether it's fast talking the guards at the gate or setting up at the long con, you're a pro at getting close to the mark and into his. You're good at getting close to the mark and into his confidence. Your biggest asset is a devious mind. You also possess cat-like grace and disarming good looks. Your chief weakness is that even though your closest associates can't quite bring themselves to trust you. The Hacker. Banks and utilities, street lights, and air traffic control, communications and security systems, everything runs on computers. If you're legit, your beat is huge and you face rivals halfway around the globe. If you aren't, you're betting your laptop against a $1 million opposition. On a team, you validate false ID for the Face Man, kill alarms ahead of the infiltrator, pull records for the investigator, and work geek to geek with the wire rat. The infiltrator. You're adept at getting into places that nobody else can get into and take things that everybody else wants, preferably sans explosions and gunshots. If all goes well, the first person to discover your handiwork is the ambassador who can't find his briefcase the next morning, or the watchman who realizes the Rembrandt is gone after it's hanging in your condo by Central Park. When working with a crew, your priority is to go ahead and open the door. Investigator. It's crucial to know where you're headed and the opposition intends to move and what you or they are grabbing, who you're shooting at and why. Hitting the wrong mark can be embarrassing or fatal. You might not be as slick as the face man or a computer wizard like the hacker or the equal to the wire rat at surveillance, but you still get the facts. You can coordinate these experts and analyze their results. The medic. Firefights, explosions, and car crashes means injury, and when the hurt comes down, you're ready with the dressings and defibrillator pads. You might be a military field medic, an urban EMT, a first-rate physician, or a third-rate vet who stitches up mobsters for cash. Whatever your credentials, I wonder if this, he doesn't mention John Wick in here because this is prior to John Wick, but we could probably run some kind of John Wick game like this as well. I was thinking about the doctor, the hotel staff, keeps on staff. Whatever your credentials, you find uses for your medical expertise when nobody else has been shot. Captives need drugging, allies need antidotes, and an action hero's world is full of scorpion stings, snake bites, and terrorist bioweapons. I wonder if it seems like the assassin would be a template to look at to see if you could start building John Wick from that. Good morning, PH. Pan says, good morning. A good RPG book should also stand alone as a coffee table book, a good flip-through book for anybody. Let's see. Shooter. It wouldn't be an action story if the floor wasn't covered with brass spent eventually, or maybe the shooter. Actually, probably be something better for John Wick. Although some, like the assassin, what was the assassin's name in the very first movie? Who was an assassin? The assassin who was the assassin, according to this. Whereas John Wick might be more like the shooter here. It wouldn't be an action story if the floor wasn't covered with spent brass eventually. And while the entire squad shoots when the chips are down, you're a true gunslinger. You tackle a whole building full of mooks. Need be, you're that good. The assassin scores higher with the sniper rifle, and the demolition man does better job with explosive weaponry. But you're not choosy. If it shoots, you can and will use it. Okay, so yeah, this is like John Wick. Gunslinger and luck, a further 30 points chosen from among the following lens disadvantages. Whatever lens it is that you've got. Strength +3. Let's see. Ambidextrous, combat reflexes, daredevil, fearless, gun perk, hard to kill. Hard to kill, that's probably a good one to have. Primary skills are things like fast draw, ammo, forced entry, jumping, all, and acrobatics. Guns, pistol, shotgun, or submachine gun. 7 of guns. Light machine gun, pistol, rifle, shotgun, or submachine gun. Crossbow, fast draw, long arm or pistol, gunner, cannon or machine gun. Grenade launcher or law. Liquid projector such as flamethrower or sprayer. Wheelman. As E.B. White said, everything in life is somewhere else, and you get there in a car. Sometimes you get there in a van, a chopper, a rigid inflatable boat, but the maximum is golden rule for action heroes. Whether you're a lone transporter who moves in high-value cargo for free, or a chauffeur for gangsters, soldiers, or dignitaries, your stock is the ride. You customize the vehicle, choose the routes, and sit behind the controls. I like this as like character classes for. I think this is a pretty good write-up for character classes for action. This type of action movie. Hard and harder to kill. Wire rat. You're the crew's eyes and ears, cameras, mics, tracking beacons, wiretaps, lasers bounced off windows, optical fibers under doors. No active electronic privacy. Invasion is too small. Small is good, actually, because it's harder to see. When there's nothing on CCTV, you entertain yourself rigging remote detonators for the demolition man, running cable for the hacker, and cutting power for the infiltrator. You're truly a hotshot with the soldering gun. I think we're going to have to look at exploits too, because that seems like the game master side of things. Not today, but I'll put that one on the list. Chapter 2, Action Heroes Cheat Sheet. Subtle advantages. The basic set offers a bewildering variety of advantages. Yes, many of them inappropriate for action campaigns. Below is a list of the best suited to the genre. It excludes exotic and supernatural traits and abilities intended to primarily for low-tech and fantasy gaming. The GM is free to permit any advantage, of course. Action movie advantages. Some advantages work differently or come in new varieties in action campaigns. Enhanced dodge. Enhanced dodge costs 15 points per level because you can dodge any number of times and requires no equipment to do so. Sounds like Neo. Because ordinarily, you can only use one of your types of active defense once to defend before your turn comes back around again. So with enhanced dodge, you could dodge any number of times and requires no equipment to do so. Enhanced dodge, dive for cover. Gunslinger. In action games, the gunslinger advantage gives these additional benefits. While you can't add your gun's accuracy, ACC's accuracy bonus, when you move an attack, you can ignore its bulk penalty and any extra penalties the GM assesses for jumping or acrobatics on foot. You ignore bulk, like John Wick. You ignore bulk even when leaping between rooftops and diving through windows. Also ignore the rules for bulk in close combat. You don't get your AC bonus in close, but never suffer a bulk penalty either. When firing a gun with rate of fire 2 to 4, you can spread your shots between targets without using spraying fire. Each attack is -3 against 2 targets, -6 against 3, or -9 against 4. Half all fast draw ammo penalties. You can easily reload while moving, crouching behind cover, etc. Oh, dodge is always unlimited? Dodge is always unlimited? Yeah, right, Neutromancer. So wait, so what was the difference here? Because you can dodge any number of times. Enhanced dodge, 15 points. Costs 15 points per level because you can dodge any number of times and require no equipment to do so. Versions that work only once per turn or that require expensive gear, like a BMW 750i E38, are cheaper. So if your enhanced dodge is dive for cover, it only costs 5 points per level because you get extra +1 to dodge when you dive for cover to escape an explosion. So this is limiting here. And the vehicular, you have to be in a vehicle in order to use that. Neutromancer says it costs more because it can be used more often than an enhanced parry, for example. Gun perks. So gun-toting heroes often have a number of flashy perks. Below, an asterisk indicates a cinematic perk for which a gunslinger is a prerequisite. So gunslinger is an advantage that you have to have as a prerequisite. Perks with the dagger require specialization by skill. Things like one-armed bandit. You can operate a lever or pump action long arm one-handed and without changing your grip. The gun's rate of fire becomes 1. Roll against the appropriate gun specialty before each shot. Failure, waste your turn. Treat it as do-nothing maneuver. Critical failure means you drop your weapon. You do get weapon bond here, or make that as a possibility. Pistol fist is you can roll against guns, pistol to pistol whip people. Treat as a punch with brass knuckles. And guns divided +2 to parry melee attacks. 1 point. New talents. A few new talents suit action heroes. These are shamelessly contrived to fit action roles and thus unlikely to be balanced in realistic campaigns. Born to be wired. Things like computer hacking, computer operation, computer programming, cryptography, etc. Reaction bonus, hackers, and also people buying stock in your .com. Action sense, electrician. No, it's not action sense. Circuit sense. Circuit sense, electrician, electronics operation, electronics repair. Craftiness are things like acting, camouflage, disguise, holdout, shadowing, and stealth. Driver's reflexes, boating, driving, piloting, and submarine. List of disadvantages as well. So it isn't fun to saddle, or it isn't fun. It isn't fun to saddle heroes with endless problems and over-the-top action games. Disadvantages serve mostly to give the PCs obstacles that they can overcome in order to look good. For instance, most real-life people find lecherousness offensive, but in action movies, it's almost endearing. And when the hero overcomes his problem, the action is that much more dramatic. The GM should consider using the following optional rule: ham clause. The PC can voluntarily inflict one of his PC's disadvantages on him during a pivotal action scene, chase, gunfight, etc., when this would make sense. In the absence of specific effects, all success rolls during the scene are at -1 per -5 points or fraction thereof of disadvantages. Well, that sounds like the invocation of a aspect. The invocation aspect to what do they call it? Harm you. Compel. Compel. That's what I'm looking for. So that sounds like a compel invocation on an aspect. Let's see. I don't have Car Wars or Ogre. I remember there was a giant Kickstarter for like a new release of Ogre or something a long time ago. That was an early day of Kickstarter, and it was also like a mega project that like sort of went off the rails or something like that. I mean, I think it got delivered, but I remember it being a huge deal. Since disadvantages can be controlled like this and shouldn't burden true action heroes much in any event, they effectively increase the campaign's power level. As such, the GM should impose a limit. A suggestion is -50 points of disadvantages and reduced attributes or secondary characteristics. Suitable skills. Everyman skills. There are certain things to see. This comes up a lot. Like, are you untrained? Well, here are your everyman skills in this. There are certain things that it's hard to imagine an action hero being unable to do, but that requires skills in GURPS. To avoid embarrassing situations where a slick operator is reduced to default roles, be sure to put at least a few points into each of the following. Computer operations. In movies made and set during the 1990s and 2000s, only heroes whose shtick is rabid technophobe can't use computers. In particular, this is the skill to use for a simple a simple web search. Save research for serious cyber stalking. Driving. Many real-life urbanites do without wheels, but no action hero could be caught without the ability to drive. The typical specialty one is automobile, heavy-wheeled, or motorcycle. Guns, pistol. While not all action is fighting, even the mousiest hackers and wire rats can fire handguns well enough to justify at least a point in this skill. Stealth. When the team sneaks around as a group, it can only do so as well as its least stealthy member. The GM is advised to limit incompetence to the above skills. For driving and guns, this punishes every specialty and the primary skill on the hero's template. There's probably like an every adventurer type of skill list in Dungeon Fantasy or something like that as well. What is it that everybody should do so we don't have this unskilled problem? Neutromancer says, this is more like compel me now so you don't get to compel me later when it's actually harmful. The downside is that in GURPS, disadvantages are things to be mitigated and avoided. Yes. Yeah, with aspects, you get paid every time you compel a problem. In GURPS, you got paid up front, and the GM sort of has to make it a problem for you every session or game. Yeah, and that's why I like the compel system better, which introduces the meta currency, because I still keep going back and forth on having a meta currency. But if you don't, but I like the way that it works with things like compels, because I like getting it paid for when it happens. Yeah, so GURPS was 2012 was for Ogre 35th anniversary, 923,000 raised. Well, it allows for real broken builds if you're clever, but it can also you can also create somebody who's basically useless in a game. Specialties, familiarity, defaults, wild card skills. Generally, I'm a fan of wild card skills because if you use wild card skills basically aggregate skills. And I think, how many skills do you actually need in a game? It might be like 18 to 20 is enough. And so I think about that. And so I think about using these wild card skills, or sometimes they're called bang skills because they end with an exclamation point. But basically, you're aggregating skills. The skill table, pages 20 to 22, and templates includes only a subset of skills within the basic set, but that's still a lot of skills. The GMs who are just learning GURPS are running the game for new players, or who find it tedious to match skills to tasks and don't have actions to exploits for advice. We'll look at that later. May want to simplify. One way to do that is with wildcard skills. Below is a wildcard skill for each template. Find the wildcard skill that matches the template, remove the ordinary skills it covers and their supporting talents from the template, and spend the points originally assigned to those things on as much of the wildcard skill as they will buy. Use leftover points however you like. So they're giving each class its bang skill. So like medic replaces diagnosis, expert skill, epidemiology, hazardous materials, biological, pharmacy, physician, poisons, psychology, surgery, and also chemistry when dealing with drugs, forensics when conducting an autopsy, and naturalist to know what toxins or venom is affecting someone. Whereas shooter replaces all crossbow, gunner, guns, and liquid projector skills, plus associated fast draw specialties. It also covers the use of acrobatics, jumping, or stealth to move around in a gunfight, counts as brawling when slugging someone with a pistol, works as forced entry when shooting locks and doors, and stands in for throwing when hurling a hand grenade or an empty handgun at someone, or a loaded weapon to an ally. Make an IQ-based roll for armory to get a gun working again. Neutromancer says, I just saw a diceless game where you only get meta currency. Pay to succeed, otherwise fail. You get like 20 per game day. Hey, yes, please do hit the like button. The meta currency, the meta currency in 10 candles was kind of like the number of dice in a pool. I've been thinking about that. I still think about that a lot. Pulling rank. So that's a legal enforcement powers. Gear, action heroes love their stuff. GURPS High Tech is the catalog of modern day kit, including lots of guns. Serious action fans will want that book. Below is a summary of key items. Tech level. GURPS Action apes movie set in the 1990s and 2000s, so it assumes tech level 8 gear and skills. While tech level 8 starts in the 1980s, in 1980, many of its iconic gadgets weren't available in the 80s. Still, the equipment list is probably suitable for techno thriller games set in the 80s, since these stories feature cutting-edge gadgetry. So, tools and gadgets, quality modifiers, arson and demolition. Anybody can commit arson, but roll versus explosives to avoid intended disasters. Timer, thermite, gasoline, plastic, burglar's tools, cutting circle, hydraulic door opener. GURPS Action assumes that heroes don't normally buy gear with starting money. They can live on whatever style they like off the clock. Watch 3 cop movies and you'll see 3 officers at the same pay grade living in a shotgun shack, a houseboat, and a fancy condo, all of whom nevertheless have virtually the same equipment. Watch a military action movie and you won't see any of the soldiers' home lives. Thus, most PCs shouldn't take wealth or other advantage. Instead, there are other options. So we've got budget, In most action games, the heroes draw their gear from their organization. It isn't theirs, but their employers. Even criminals follow this rules. The equipment, no doubt the avails of crime, belong to the crew. The personal kit is off limits because it's easily traced. And personal kit is off limits because it's easily traced. Thus, most teams have a budget. So here's how to do that. Starting signature gear, personal wealth. I guess if you really are trying to outfit yourself. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going here. Let's see. Optics, light sources, personal accessories. I used to love gear lists. I've gotten less enthusiastic about gear lists like this. Just in terms of dealing with encumbrance, what you can carry, all of that kind of thing. Generalizing this, I think, to me right now is better. Because, I mean, this is a lot. This is also a lot to deal with as far as exactly what, okay, you know, it's a rappelling kit for descents only. Harness, carabiner, descender, and 33 yards of 1/4 inch rope on a belt pouch. Quality bonuses affect climbing rolls. You know, here's your rules for, you know, a grapnel. Cell phone. Higher quality versions don't improve skill, but have one built-in gadget. Camera. Now they have a lot more. Camera, GPS, PDA, etc. Per full $100 added on. Runs for 6 hours. This is very detailed. Glow stick. Chemical light illuminates 2-yard radius for 12 hours. Space pen. Can write anywhere, even underwater. $25. Weight negligible. Multi-tool. Leatherman or similar belt tool counts as improvised gear for most repairs. I don't know why I remember that a lot. I guess it's because I carry a Leatherman. But I think about that. I guess I got it from this line, or maybe it's from some other place too in GURPS. But I always think, Leatherman on my belt. Improvised gear for most repairs. Yeah, we need to look at that. I still think one of the best gear systems ever, Sable Phoenix says, is Blades in the Dark. Just start a caper with light, average, or heavy outfitting. Each gives you a certain number of items. I like that. I like that too. Armor and clothing. Weapons. So how specific do they get with the weapons? So gun, pistol. Auto backup pistol, 40 caliber. Auto pistol, 40 caliber. Auto pistol, 45. Auto pistol, 50 caliber. AE. So we got like damage here is 2. See, obviously you don't use your strength when you're shooting guns in GURPS. You do that when you're attacking with melee weapons. But in GURPS, of course, we're doing piercing damage, and we're talking about a certain amount of damage. People have talked a lot about in GURPS how this relates to body armor. There's people who have written systems where body armor starts to negate dice worth of damage, and I think that starts to make a lot of sense, because rolling for damage makes sense if you're impacting a biological target, an organic target, because maybe you hit a vital organ, maybe you didn't, maybe you hit some type of vein or something, maybe you didn't, or an artery, or maybe you didn't. So rolling for damage just puts in all of the random elements that you can't actually have in or settle out at the gaming table. So it makes total sense to roll randomly. But as soon as you're like shooting a gun against an armored plate, is the armored plate rated to stop the bullet or not? If it hit the bullet, then it did. I mean, if the bullet hit the plate, then it did. And actually using armor as dice for damage works well for that. And I thought about that for other games as well. So this is it. Diceless tabletop RPG. Look at Bounty Hunter, the easiest tabletop RPG you will ever play. GURPS gets down to the shotgun pellet. In GURPS, armor mitigates each shot. So a shotgun with multiple pellets will get tons of mitigation. They have the 9mm out damaging the 45. Let's look. So the auto pistol 45 is 2D plus 1. No, excuse me, not plus 1. Just 2D piercing plus. We have the auto pistol 9mm. Yeah. The auto pistol 9mm is 2D plus 2. The 40 is 2D plus 2. The 40 caliber backup pistol is 2D plus 1. I wonder why that is. I wonder if there's also some type of errata or something like that, because the 45 caliber 2D 9mm, we didn't get down to that yet. But yeah, so 2D plus 2, whereas the 50 caliber is 4D. 357 is 3D. 38 caliber revolver is 2D, and this is all D6. These Ds are all D6. Everything in GURPS is D6. 44 revolver, 3D plus 2. Maybe. George says maybe they're thinking of low powder charge in a 45. Or maybe there's some kind of note or something around here. But we've got damage, we've got accuracy right here, we've got range, we've got weight, we've got rate of fire, shots. Shots 13 plus 1, 3. What exactly does that mean? Hang on. But anyway, also strength to use it, or at least minimum strength without penalty, bulk rating, recoil, cost, and then notes. So we've got guns, assault carbine, assault rifle, assault sniper rifle, 50 caliber sniper rifle. Right here, that's 6D times 2. Times 2 damage. Sniper rifle at 50 caliber. Pepper spray. So weight, shots. Shots lists reload time in parentheses. This assumes a magazine speed loader while available. Shots. So that lists. So the shots. Oh, okay. So that's the available shots. The reload time is in parentheses. So that 3, that's what that parentheses is. Wait, where did I? Okay, right here. This assumes a magazine speed loader where available. Fast raw ammo reduces this time by 1/3. Action heroes love custom ammo. These options have cost factor like for tools and gadgets. So armor piercing, add armor divisor 2, but change damage type to piercing plus plus to piercing plus and piercing plus to piercing and piercing. I think that's large and extra large. Piercing large, piercing extra large. I think that's what those plus plus means. But this is like piercing minus, so small piercing. Any pistol, rifle, or submachine gun. Extra powerful. Add +1 to damage per 3 dice or fractions thereof. Hollow point. Well, if you're shooting hollow point, change damage type from piercing minus to piercing to piercing plus, or piercing plus to piercing plus plus. But add armor divisor 0.5. Hand grenades. Vehicles. Okay, that's it. I think that we do need to look at so this was all about characters, and I think that what I was looking at or thinking about looking at must have been exploits. But I'm glad we went ahead and did this one so that we can take a look at it. So I'm glad we took a look at this one so people knew what this one was about, because I think this was also a good book. But I think that exploits as more about running an action game. And so I want to look at that from the structural perspective. And what does it actually say about taking one of those games and trying to run it from the structural perspective? And I want to know what can be adapted to other kinds of games. Piercing increases damage after armor. Piercing plus probably increases more. So 45 is more damage, less penetration. Ah, maybe so. Oh, wait. Okay, so wait. Let's figure out what, because that's true. The damage types may have been different. So, okay, the 9mm pistol is just piercing. It's not piercing plus. So the 9mm pistol gives you 2d plus 2, but it's piercing. Yeah, the 45 does 2d piercing plus. So Neutromancer says, okay, I found it. Piercing plus means after armor, you get 50% more damage to the body. With piercing, you don't. Ah, okay, so that's it. Yeah, I should have picked up on the fact that we have piercing plus and then piercing down here. So piercing plus means that after you take out your damage reduction, you get 50% more damage to the body. So they are actually saying that the 45 caliber is superior here because you're going to be rolling 2D, but after you get through armor, you get 50% more damage to the body. Maybe we'll have to look at that one soon. Okay, so that explains that and the different damage types. Thank you for looking that up, Neutromancer. All right, well, I am out of here. I'm going to try to get myself going as far as work goes. Please do check out the Raven Keep. Yeah, Raven Keep store. Also come by the Discord server. And if you're looking for something to watch tonight, I think I really like doing a Friday night stream. But on the other hand, I'm going to have a difficult time justifying the time because I'm way behind in a whole bunch of work. So otherwise, if you joined the channel as a member, you could watch last night's stream. That was a fantastic stream. Otherwise, we will be live tomorrow morning, and then also we'll be watching a show. We also have the show to watch tomorrow. We've got The Cultist to watch tomorrow. If you have not seen The Cultist Season 2, I would love to have you with us, with me and RM tomorrow watching the show. I would absolutely love it. So, all right, I'm going to try. You move big rocks too. Everybody move big rocks. Everybody go be creative, be productive, and grind on. Later.